Today's Mass readings and Gospel reflection. November 13, 2020. Memorial of Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini, Virgin. Friday of the 32nd week in Ordinary Time. This saint, the first United States citizen to be canonized, was born in Italy of parents who were farmers. She was the 13th child, born when her mother was 52 years old. The missionary spirit was awakened in her as a little girl when her father read stories of the missions to his children. She received a good education, and at 18 was awarded the normal school certificate. For a while she helped the pastor teach catechism and visited the sick and the poor. She also taught school in a nearby town, and for 6 years supervised an orphanage assisted by a group of young women. The Bishop of Lodi heard of this group and asked Francis to establish a missionary institute to work in his diocese. Francis did so, calling the community the Missionary Sisters of the Sacred Heart. An academy for girls was opened and new houses quickly sprang up. One day Bishop Cabrini, founder of the Missionaries of Emigration, described to Mother Cabrini the wretched economical and spiritual conditions of the many Italian immigrants in the United States, and she was deeply moved. An audience with Pope Leo XIII changed her plans to go to the missions of the East. Not to the East, but to the West, the Pope said to her. Go to the United States. Mother Cabrini no longer hesitated. She landed in New York in 1889, established an orphanage, and then set out on a life work that comprised the alleviation of every human need. For the children she erected schools, kindergartens, clinics, orphanages, and foundling homes, and numbers of hospitals for the needy sick. At her death over 5,000 children were receiving care in her charitable institutions, and at the same time her community had grown to 500 members in 70 houses in North and South America, France, Spain, and England. The saint, frail and diminutive of stature, showed such energy and enterprise that everyone marveled. She crossed the Atlantic 25 times to visit the various houses and institutions. In 1909 she adopted the United States as her country and became a citizen. After 37 years of unflagging labor and heroic charity she died alone in a chair in Columbus Hospital at Chicago, Illinois, while making dolls for orphans in preparation for a Christmas party. Cardinal Mundelein of Chicago officiated at her funeral and in 1938 also presided at her beatification by Pius XI. She was canonized by Pius XII in 1946. She lies buried under the altar of the chapel of Mother Cabrini High School in New York City. First reading. A reading from the second letter of John. 2 John chapter 4-9. Chosen Lady, I rejoiced greatly to find some of your children walking in the truth just as we were commanded by the Father. But now, Lady, I ask you, not as though I were writing a new commandment but the one we have had from the beginning, let us love one another. For this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, as you heard from the beginning, in which you should walk. Many deceivers have gone out into the world, those who do not acknowledge Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh. Such is the deceitful one and the Antichrist. Look to yourselves that you do not lose what we worked for but may receive a full recompense. Anyone who is so progressive as not to remain in the teaching of the Christ does not have God. Whoever remains in the teaching has the Father and the Son. The word of the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. Psalms chapter 119 verse 1, 2, 10, 11, 17 and 18. Let our response be, blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. Blessed are they whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. Blessed are they who observe his decrees, who seek him with all their heart. Blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. With all my heart I seek you. Let me not stray from your commands. Blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. Within my heart I treasure your promise, that I may not sin against you. Blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. Be good to your servant, that I may live and keep your words. Blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. Open my eyes, that I may consider the wonders of your law. Blessed are they who follow the law of the Lord. Gospel reading. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Luke chapter 17 verse 26 to 37. Jesus said to his disciples, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of the Son of Man. They were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage up to the day that Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Similarly, as it was in the days of Lot, they were eating, drinking, buying, selling, planting, building. On the day when Lot left Sodom, fire and brimstone rained from the sky to destroy them all. So it will be on the day the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, someone who is on the housetop and whose belongings are in the house must not go down to get them, and likewise one in the field must not return to what was left behind. Remember the wife of Lot. Whoever seeks to preserve his life will lose it, but whoever loses it will save it. I tell you, on that night there will be two people in one bed. One will be taken, the other left. And there will be two women grinding meal together. One will be taken, the other left. They said to him in reply, Where, Lord? He said to them, Where the body is, there also the vultures will gather. The Gospel of the Lord. Before we proceed with the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Also, please hit the notification bell, so you won't miss out when we release new videos. Feel free to share your comments, suggestions, and reflections at the comments section down below. Thank you and God bless. Now, let's proceed with the video. The reflection on today's Gospel. Today's Gospel continues the reflection on the coming of the end of time and presents to us Jesus' words about how to prepare ourselves for the coming of the kingdom. This was an affair which produced much discussion at that time. God is the one who determines the hour of the coming end of time. But the time of God is not measured according to the time of our clock. For God, one day can be equal to 1,000 years, and 1,000 years equal to one day. The time of God goes by invisibly in our time, but independently of us and our time. We cannot interfere in time, but we have to be prepared for the moment in which the hour of God becomes present in our time. It could be today, or it could be in 1,000 years. What gives us security is not to know the hour of the end of the world, but the certainty of the presence of the words of Jesus present in our life. The world will pass, but the word of God will never pass. As it was in the day of Noah and of Lot. Life goes by normally eating, drinking, getting married, buying, selling, sowing, harvesting. Our routine can include so much that we do not manage to think about anything else. The consumerism of our time generates in many of us a total lack of attention to the more profound dimensions of life. We allow the moths to enter into the beam of faith which holds up the more profound dimensions of life. When the storm destroys the house, many of us blame the carpenter. It was badly made. In reality, it crumbled down due to our continual lack of attention. The reference to the destruction of Sodom as a figure of what will happen at the end of time may be a reference to the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans in the year 70 AD. So, it will also be in the days of the Son of Man. So, it will be in the days when the Son of Man will reveal himself. It is difficult for us to imagine the suffering and the trauma that the destruction of Jerusalem caused in both Jewish and Christian communities. In order to help them to understand and face this suffering, Jesus uses a comparison taken from life when the day comes, no one on the housetop, with his possessions in the house, must come down to collect them, nor must anyone in the fields turn back. The destruction will take place so rapidly that it is not worthwhile to go down to look for something in the house. Remember Lot's wife, that is, do not look back, do not lose time, decide and go. It is a question of life or death. To lose one's life in order to save it. Anyone who tries to preserve his life will lose it, and anyone who loses it will keep it safe. Only the person who has been capable of giving himself completely to others will feel totally fulfilled in life. Anyone who preserves life for self alone loses it. This advice of Jesus is the confirmation of the most profound human experience. The source of life is found in the gift of life. In giving, one receives. In all truth I tell you, unless a wheat grain falls into the earth and dies, it remains only a single grain, but if it dies it yields a rich harvest. The motivation which Mark's Gospel adds is important for my sake and for the sake of the Gospel. Saying that no one is capable of preserving his life by his own efforts, Jesus recalls the psalm in which it is said that nobody is capable of paying the price for the ransom of his life. No one can redeem himself or pay his own ransom to God. The price for himself is too high. It can never be that he will live on forever and avoid the sight of the abyss. I tell you, on that night, when two are in one bed, one will be taken, the other left. When two women are grinding corn together, one will be taken, the other left. This recalls the parable of the 10 virgins. 5 were prudent and 5 were foolish. What is important is to be prepared. The words "one will be taken and the other left" recall the words of Paul to the Thessalonians, when he says that with the coming of the Son of Man, we will be taken to heaven at the sight of Jesus. These words left behind furnish the title of a terrible and dangerous romance of the fundamentalist extreme right of the United States. Left behind. This is a romance which has nothing to do with the real meaning of the words of Jesus. Where and when? The disciples asked, "Where, Lord?" And Jesus answered, "Where the corpse is, there too the vultures will gather." This is an enigmatic response. Some think that Jesus recalled the prophecy of Ezekiel, taken up in the Apocalypse, in which the prophet refers to the final victorious battle against the force of evil. The birds of prey or the vultures will be invited to eat the flesh of the bodies. Others think that it is a question of the valley of Jehoshaphat, where the final judgment will take place according to the prophecy of Joel. Others think that it is simply a variation of a popular proverb which meant more or less what our contemporary proverb says: where there is smoke, there is fire. Am I from the time of Noah or from the time of Lot? A romance of the extreme right. How do I respond to this political manipulation of the faith in Jesus? How blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of Yahweh. Blessed are those who observe his instructions, who seek him with all their hearts.